Hey there and welcome. My name is David and I'm getting married in October of this year. Now, I've made the probably crazy decision to grow most of the flowers for my wedding, and I'm going to be documenting this process in a series that I'm calling Seed to Centerpiece. Now, I have grown flowers before, I really enjoy it, and that's part of the reason why I made this decision. However, none of my gardening endeavors to this point have been anywhere near as high stakes as this. I just got my first shipment of seeds and some equipment, so let's go check it out. One of the things I'm actually most excited for with this project is soil blocking. This is a all-metal, high-quality soil blocker. It produces 5 blocks at a time, and the size is large enough that pretty much all of my wedding seeds should be able to be started in these soil blocks. I've wanted to try soil blocking for quite a while. There are some plant health benefits, namely air pruning. However, the main thing that drew me to this was the reduction in waste. By using these soil blocks, I no longer have to use the really thin and flimsy plastic seed starting trays, and while you can reuse them, I was never really able to get more than about 2 seasons worth out of them. So I'm really excited to try this out. Going along with that, I have this kind of multi-purpose scraper. This is really going to be used for getting soil into the soil blocker, as well as evening out all of the blocks to make sure that they have a flat bottom and are able to stand up and support themselves. The last piece of equipment that I got is this hand sower. This hand sower has a variable opening here, which should allow different seeds of different sizes to flow out. And some of the seeds that I'm going to be working with I know are super tiny. They're really annoying to deal with, quite frankly. And so I'm hoping that this hand seeder will make my life a little bit easier getting seeds into the soil blocks and making sure that I don't end up with like 5 seeds in one soil block and then I'm trying to pick those out of there. So hopefully this works out well. Excited to try it. And with that, let's get into the seeds. First up for seeds, we have zinnias. Zinnias are a very common fall and summer cut flower. They're a really great flower, very productive, and they come in a wide variety of colors, which makes it really easy to match for whatever your color scheme is. In our case, we're going with a fall color scheme, which is going to be browns, dark greens, purples, terracotta, pinks. And so we have a few different varieties here to help with matching that. First, we have Jazzy Mix. We have Queenie Lime Orange, Bennery's Giant Coral, and Bennery's Giant Wine. Next up, we have Snapdragons. Now, Snapdragons are an interesting one. They're one that I don't know I'm going to be able to get flowering at the end of October, which is when our wedding is, but it's something that I want to try because both my fiance and I really love Snapdragons. And so what I'm going to be trying is trying to plant some of them, the ones that prefer the colder weather and the shorter days, group 1 and 2. I'm going to plant them in the spring, try to get them to survive the summer, and then put out a second flush of flowers in the fall that will be used for the wedding. There are others, groups 3 and 4, that prefer longer days and warmer weather. Those I'm going to try to essentially time that first flush of flowers with the wedding. So the options, or the varieties that we have here, are Potomac Apple Blossom, Monaco Orange, Canis Red, Madame Butterfly Bronze, Orleans Red, and Costa Velvet. Next up, Gomphrena. Now, Gomphrena is a very productive flower and it works super well in our yard. I've grown it for a few years now. They're little globe flowers, very small, but they have a lot of texture and they come in these really, really nice colors. And so for colors, we have Audrey Purple Red, QIC, Quality and Seed Orange, and we also have Audrey White. And the white here is, you know, all-purpose wedding flower. Next up, we have Calendula. Calendula is actually a species that I haven't grown before, but it's supposed to be relatively easy to grow. This is Orange Flash. The colors work really, really well, and so if I can get some blooms from this for the wedding, that's going to be a big win for the color scheme. Next up is Cosmos, and Cosmos is another really great fall and summer cut flower. There's a ton of different varieties. I've grown it a bunch in our yard. It works out really well. I really like the flowers themselves, and also the greenery is pretty like light and airy. The varieties I have here, double click cranberries. I've never actually grown the double click varieties, but I'm really excited to. They look really nice, and I'm hoping that they come out well. Also have Rubenza and Versailles Red for some of these dark red colors. I might also grow some leftover Sensation Picotee. These are white flowers with a pink outline that I think could look really nice with other flowers. Next up, we have Celosia. Now, Celosia is one that I grew last year in preparation for this whole seed to centerpiece adventure. And I have 3 different varieties here. None of them are actually the ones that I grew last year. The Celosia that we're using almost looks like kind of an ornamental grass. And we have Flamingo Purple, which puts out a lot of foliage and pretty small flowers, but should look really nice. And then 2 Selway varieties. We have Terracotta and White, again, to go with the whole color scheme. Next, we have Strawflower. Now, this is another species that I have not grown before, but it's supposed to be relatively easy to grow. Also makes great dried flowers. I'm gonna try to dry out some flowers from earlier in the season. Strawflower as well as Gomphrena. Gomphrena looks really, really nice dried. And I'll be doing this. This is the Cranberry Rose, which again is fitting in with all of these colors. Last, we have Amaranth. I have 2 different varieties of Amaranth, although I accidentally ordered 2 packets of one of them. This is, again, kind of an ornamental grass looking form. The Amaranth that we're using here is pretty structurally upright, unlike something that you might see with Love Lies Bleeding, which really hangs out. I have Hot Biscuits here for kind of the brownish orangish color, and Red Spike as, again, that kind of dark burgundy. Now, the one glaring omission from all of these seeds is dahlias. Dahlias are probably my favorite cut flower. My fiance also loves them, and I would really love to utilize them pretty heavily in the wedding. Really want a variety of forms, you know, everything from pom-pom dahlia, which is almost as small as Gomphrena, all the way up to dinner plate dahlias, and a really wide variety of colors. Pretty much all the colors that we've seen here can also be covered by dahlias, and we're gonna be growing a ton of them. I've already put in an order for some tubers. I've also saved some tubers from prior years. So once the tubers come in, I'll give a tour of those as well. But that's really going to be the star of the show, at least in an ideal world, because who knows where this is gonna actually end up. So this has been my first shipment of seeds and equipment for growing my own wedding flowers. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm gonna be documenting the whole process with this Seeds to Centerpiece series. Really hope that you'll join me along. Thanks, I'll see you next time.